A few moments later. A few moments later.
Oh my god!
A few moments later.
Cancel culture is at it again, even though, always remember, no matter how much someone is telling you that cancel culture doesn't exist, it's like the inversion of that is how much they believe it actually does exist. There are always these people that say, cancel culture isn't a thing, but we should totally fire this person for a mean tweet because consequence culture, it's totally different. Well, we have the CEO of a company who fired a woman over a park video, which, by the way, is questionable, to say the least, which we're going to get into. Turns out he's got a history of problematic tweets. Who could have foreseen this? So essentially, there's an argument that happens in a park. A white woman says to a black person, "Stay in your hood," or something like that. Now, the woman claims that it didn't have any racial undertones, that she was just saying like, hey, we'll check it out. Turns out the person who filmed this woman is a notorious race grifter who's made hundreds of thousands of dollars with viral GoFundMes with garbage like this. What a coincidence. What a coincidence. Hypocrisy. Bevy CEO who fired woman after viral dog park video has a history of problematic tweets. Here you have white woman accused of telling black couple to stay in your hood denies that there was anything racially motivated for it. Look, I don't know if she talks this way, normally. It's obviously, yes, you could make that connection that she's being, that she was about race, but we don't know her intent. The problem is in America nowadays, since everything is so, since everybody is so, how do I say, since everybody is so racially divided, they just assume this. A white woman who came under fire for telling a black couple to stay in their hood during a spat in a Brooklyn dog park denied money that her comments had any racial undertones. Emma Sarley, who was booted from her job amid a social media backlash to the viral video on Saturday's confrontation in McCarran Park in Williamsburg, and that she was sorry for her brief and thoughtless moment. My reference to "back to your hood" only referred to another dog park outside of this neighborhood park, Sarley said in a statement to the Post. I was frustrated and upset, but to be clear, I had no intended racial undertones in my comments whatsoever. I said it because it's an unstated rule at our local park that when your dog is being aggressive, owners immediately remove them so it can be calm, welcoming environment for everyone else. That's not an unspoken rule at just your dog park. Somebody who goes to the dog park every single day, sometimes twice a day, that is a rule at basically every dog park. However, I fully understand how my words could have been interpreted, and I deeply wish I had chosen some different words. I understand that. A brief and thoughtless moment in my life has now led to a nationwide outrage and hurt. For that, I'm sorry. In a statement issued through public relations firm, Sarley said that she absolutely accepts responsibility for how I could have handled things differently in that moment. She also claimed that she never threatened to call the police during the confrontation, and she was accused of, which was what she was accused of doing, nor went on a tirade. As the dog owners followed me down the street with their camera phone on, I was filled with some panic because I've never been in an altercation like this and reacted in an inappropriate way, she said. That's what you witnessed on tape. I tend to believe that, but you never know. If there's other tape of it or something like that, maybe she has a history of it. But I can tell you this, if someone's putting their camera in my face, they're probably not going to get the best of me. I've lived in New York for a decade. My Brooklyn neighborhood and dog park is extremely diverse, something I truly love about the city. I never meant for my words to contribute to pain anyone, she added. I truly hope we can find an understanding and peaceful resolution of this for everyone involved. Frederick Joseph, who's a race grifter, we'll see, and his fiance and his family were threatened by Sarley after she confused their dog with a different pooch that had been barking loudly at the park. So I started recording and she tried to slap the phone out of my hand, Joseph said on Twitter, referring to Sarli. Now, this person is now protected their Twitter, actually blocked me. I've never even interacted with them, so that's an interesting way to start our relationship. This person then ended up getting fired from her job over it. And this is somebody who said cancel culture doesn't exist. Like, literally. Bevy CEO who fired woman after viral dog park video has a history of problematic tweets. Anderson fired Sarli because of Joseph's apparent recommendation. Two powerful men conspired to deprive a woman of her livelihood and reputation, both of whom are hypocrites. The CEO of Bevy fired one of his employees after she was publicly shamed following an alleged altercation at Brooklyn Dog Park. The woman who was fired, Emma Sarli, was terminated by Bevy after claims that she was behaving in a racial manner. She doesn't exactly look like she looks scared to me, to be honest with you. The story was presented on social media by a New York Times bestselling author, Frederick Joseph, who said Sarli was racist towards him. Anderson fired him based on his apparent recommendation. Two powerful men conspired to deprive a woman of her livelihood and reputation. However, for all his grandstanding, Derek Anderson, the CEO who let Sarli go, has his own behavior to account for. Shocking. While he has no sympathy for his employee, he did come out with the suggestion of forgiveness was in order for the Angel Hack CEO, Greg Grotman, in 2013 after he was shamed on social media for saying that San Francisco is turning into a disgusting, horrible place. This was a truth for which Grotman later apologized. Gottman, sorry. His initial remarks saying totally true, everyone is piling on the startup guy because it makes them feel better about their sad lives and mistakes. He's also said, Sarli had been employed by Bevy, a virtual conference software company, before Derek Anderson, CEO of Bevy, announced that they had a zero tolerance for discrimination behavior of any kind. Yesterday, an employee engaged in behavior contrary to our values, and we've terminated her. He further wrote that he hopes some kind of resolution can happen between the two parties beyond this, and said he would, quote, help if he could, whatever that means. Sarli no longer has a job in the aftermath of shaming and has deleted her LinkedIn page, according to the New York Post. Anderson reported to Twitter that he had spoken with the man who reported Sarli on social media, Joseph, the author of the book, The Black Friend, on being a better white person, who filmed the end of the incident. We never saw anything leading up to it, and said that she was racist without filming the incident itself. Anderson would likely not have known about the incident were it not for Joseph calling it to his attention. Joseph reached out to Anderson, the American conservative noted, and demanded social justice. Hey, he called out to Anderson on Twitter, I see that Bevy HQ is attempting to be better about race, equity, etc. You should see this. I'm hoping black colleagues and peers don't have to face this sort of racism from Emma, essentially demanding she be fired. Anderson wrote that he spoke with Fred T. Johnson about his and his fiance's horrific experience. Sorry to them for what happened. No one should be treated that way. This is extremely troubling. We don't know any of the context here. It's not like she said something, like I've referred to the city where I live as like a hood, or talk to like, hey, go back, that's my hood over there. That's my hood. Like, I don't know. To me, it's a little too gray to be ruining somebody's life. Frederick Joseph gloating. Emma has been terminated. I do hope people learn that there are consequences for their behavior. What? Here's Frederick Joseph saying, so many white people and police officers in Harlem, it doesn't even feel comfortable. Is what she said worse than that, Frederick Joseph? Joseph has called out, quote, problematic white people over and over, as it turns out. Well, this is his job. In 2012, Anderson imitated the accent of an Asian person from whom English is a second language and made fun of Asians in general and their dominance in Silicon Valley. In 2010, he has essentially fat-shamed a reality TV star. In 2019, he made fun of human trafficking and joked about selling his wife on Craigslist. Again, even here, 1619 Project founder Nicole Hannah-Jones criticized black activist cancellation of white women over racism. She writes, "Yeah, this didn't sit right with me and it doesn't seem like an ethical use of one's platform." Bailey said that from his view, the 27-second video of Joseph posting to social media before digging around the web to find out who the woman was seemed like an angry encounter between strangers in the park. Bailey said that it doesn't need to be resolved this way. After Joseph found out who the woman was, he investigated her LinkedIn and demanded she get fired, which she did. He posted the video, then her dog's name, and the location of the incident. He then tracked her down on Instagram and LinkedIn. He posted photos of her, contacted her employee. By that point, of course, he could have contacted her, but he chose not to. Joseph then reported to Twitter that he had spoken to the woman's boss and that she was fired. Joseph, it turns out, this is what he does for a living. He also tried to shame an Airbnb host for having seemingly satanic items in the home. Twitter was full of screenshots of Joseph's past attempted takedowns of white women, including a woman on a plane who, quote, took off her shoes and placed both feet on the table. This is the representative for the audacity of white privilege. Instead of speaking to that woman, he tries to get the attention of the flight crew. What this guy does is race grift, and he seems to have some problem with white women in particular. And Derek Anderson, of course, not getting much love. The idea that you fired this person, you see Amy Cooper currently has a federal lawsuit against her former employee for firing her without investigation. Do what is right, let the consequences follow. Here you have even Twitter doesn't support it. It seems like even Twitter isn't supporting this. Like, is this what we're really going to do? Does Bevy HQ have a zero tolerance policy for discriminatory behavior as applies to yourself? Uh-oh, the real world is the R word. Uh-oh. Derek Anderson should probably quit. Cool story. Here's another one. Here's Frederick Joseph, a poem. Burn it down, rebuild on ashes. It's time. F you, burn down that police department. Where can we donate to the protesters? This guy seems like a real, he's like a black Karen. Absolutely pathetic. And the CEO who fired this woman is just as bad. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.